Welcome to the Stogie Geek Show, episode 100. This episode is sponsored by Mr. J. Savannah Smoke Shop, located in Rhode Island. They have an outstanding selection of premium handmade cigars. And by the Havana Cigar Club, located also in Rhode Island. It's a great place to enjoy a drink and a cigar. Stogie Geeks listeners can find a $5 off coupon on our website by clicking the HCC logo. And by Debonair Cigars. Visit stogiegeeks.com/debonair for a list of retailers who carry Debonair cigars. Buy some today and get a little more Debonair. And by Ocean State Cigars. Try the J. Grotto Series cigar, including the Connecticut Shade Silk Limited Edition J. Grotto Reserva lines. This week, the J. Grotto anniversary was announced and will be launched at the 2014 IPCPR Trade Show. Visit them on the web at oceanstatecigars.com. And welcome, everyone, to this edition of the Stogie Geek Show. I'm your host, Paul Asadorian, even. I can't even say my own name. Clearly,
how's that coming
we need to be consuming a lot more alcoholic beverages than we already have been.
Yes.
Yes, and good thing we have some right next to us. Mark Jr.'s here in the studio. Welcome, Mark.
I sure am.
By the fourth podcast today, I'll get things right. I swear.
Actually, if it hasn't happened by now, you're probably
not.
So,
Will joining us from North Carolina. Welcome, Will Cooper. Will's on mute.
It's
We
the
can
Coop
see
de
him.
Loops.
He's a mime. Will is practicing his mime, which is awesome.
Greetings, everybody.
Hey, how's it going, buddy?
Going good.
Oh boy, we've got a fantastic show for you. This is episode 100. We really, it's special as always. I had kind of a segment in mind. Will, maybe we'll talk about it as the show goes on. But it's a landmark occasion here on episode 100 of the Stogie Geek Show. Very happy that we reached that point and looking forward to another 100 episodes. Let's see. This segment is brought to you by the Havana Cigar Club, new to their humidors, the Asylum 1399 Problems, E. Picrillo Short Run Core, and the Miami Cigar Company's 25th anniversary cigars. Now, we just did an interview with Nestor Miranda before the show was released as a separate segment. Make sure you check that out. And they were having an event over there next door. So
that was a lot of fun. A lot of fun, that interview.
A lot of fun. Got to check that one out. Okay. So, Will, what are we smoking?
Well, it's the 100th show, and I know Stogie Santa wanted to be here. He's wandering around the Eiffel Tower somewhere, but I think
what a weirdo.
I think he would have agreed. Tonight we go with Oasis level cigars. We graded Oasis. I went with my number one cigar of the year, which I started smoking during the Nestor segment, which is the La Rossini Años Maduro. I think everyone knows that's one of my all-time favorites, and probably on the show we've talked umpteen times about it, but I couldn't think of a better one to take tonight.
Mark Jr., what are you going to light up? Well, you're not going to light anything up because none of our lighters have fluid.
I'm going to smoke a Tatuaje Face.
What? Wait, I can't wait to hear. They are aged so well.
It's been a year and a half or so since I've smoked one, so I'm interested as well.
Sorry, Will. Good. Keep talking.
No, that's okay. So I just went back and smoked the Baby Faces about a week ago, and I was really impressed with how they've come along. So that is a monster cigar to really to see, kind of check out if you haven't revisited it.
The Baby
Would
Face?
somebody get this guy some matches, por favor?
Poor favor.
How many lighters are empty in this place? Like all of them are. They're all empty. This one actually works, I think. It's just a level of professionalism here.
Yeah, we're on another level here, let me tell you.
So I lit up.
You'd think we were like cigar smokers or something.
Yeah, exactly. With Tom Pearson.
It's once I found a lighter, I lit up a Davidoff Colorado Claro Short Perfecto, which is one of my favorite and is definitely in the Oasis category for me. These cigars are just epic. It's Well, do you remember what blend is the binder and filler? Did they take I think it was a special series, maybe, and
Yeah, I
wrapped
think
it,
it was. I'm at the top of my head, not sure.
and they wrapped it in this Colorado Claro wrapper,
Yeah.
which in the short perfecto size you get to taste a lot of that wrapper, and it is just one of the most unique tasting wrappers. Absolutely phenomenal.
When I was up your way, that's what you gave me, and wow. Yeah, I
You
still
never had one
remember
before
stuff.
that, right?
Yeah, I hadn't had that one before.
They're just extremely special.
Yeah.
So that's what I lit up in honor of our 100th episode. On the lines via Skype, we have a special guest for this show, Clint Aaron from 262 Cigars. Clint, welcome to the Stogie Geeks.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
How are you doing?
we need ice. We're just, logistically we're on par with how we roll here at Stogie Geeks. So, Clint, tell us about, some of your background before you got into the cigar industry and kind of how you got into the cigar industry.
If you know anything about debits and credits and T-charts, you know why I'm no longer an accountant. Um, basically, I grew up in Indianapolis, and so I love anything with a motor and wheels. But I'm just too tall to be a race car driver and missed my call to be a rock star. And I said, kind of had a quarter life crisis and said, what do I want to do when I grow up? And it came back to cigars. I had my first cigar when I was, I guess it would have been 18 years old. And my buddy and I solved the world's problems that night. We woke up the next day, there's more problems, so we had to have another cigar.
Yeah.
And I kept coming back to the camaraderie. And that's what I loved, and there's really nothing like this. And so, kind of make a long story short, that kept coming back to that and said, well, looking around the humidor, I see this guy. He's not, he doesn't have any tobacco heritage. This guy was a lawyer. This guy, sold hurricane nuts and bolts. This guy was a graphic artist. This guy was a Wall Street banker. Blah blah blah. If they can do it, why can't I? And we just kind of started putting those wheels in motion. And so, fast forward about 4 years, and here we are. So that was, like I said, the abbreviated version of me getting into the industry, and it's just been a roller coaster, been a great ride ever since. So,
So how did you come up with the name 262?
that is my golf score.
Okay.
I'm just
Mine too.
February, which is the second month of 1962, is when JFK signed the embargo. It's not the fact that he did it; it's how he did it. He had his press secretary go round up all the Cuban H. Upmann Petit Coronas he could find. He brings them back, and then JFK pulls out the proclamation, puts pen to paper. So he gets all of his before anybody else could get theirs. Again, fast forward 52 years, the government is still telling us where we can and can't smoke, trying to tax us out of existence. Right now, the FDA is, who knows, they gave us an extension, so within the next 60 days, they've got this deeming regulation that ultimately may be the be-all, end-all of cigars as we know it, the current landscape as we know it. Now, we all know, and again, I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist, but we all know that the world revolves around money, and so they're trying to say, well, it's health stuff. Well, we all know it's not. It's money. So they're going to try to get theirs and, again, kind of stick it to us. But that's kind of the backstory of 262. I have no tobacco heritage, was not born in a field wrapped in a swaddling leaf of Ligero, but I'm just passionate about my rights as an American to enjoy a perfectly legal product. I'm an adult, I can make that decision. And that's something that rings true with, I think, all cigar smokers, is the fact that, hey, our forefathers came over here and fought for our right, fought for our freedom. And for the government to tell me that I can't do something that's perfectly legal, that's garbage. And so it just rings true with everybody.
Amen.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man.
Yep.
And I'm jumping on my soapbox. My blood pressure's getting all spiked now. So you guys got me all hot.
Jump
I
up,
know you
dude.
jumped
Jump
right
up,
in there
man.
early, Clint. We were saving some of those questions for the end, but I'm glad I agree with your sentiments wholeheartedly. So, tell us about some of your first trips to where you were blending cigars. Where did you go, and what was the experience like?
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think if anybody has not had the chance or the opportunity to go down to one of these factories, Nicaragua, Honduras, the DR, Costa Rica, wherever some of these factory tours are taking place, put that on the calendar to do. You gain a whole new respect for the cigar not just the cigar itself, but the industry, the people, the farmers, all the way to the rollers and the packagers and all that stuff. To take a look and see that these people are making $8 a day. When I think now they've just passed in Washington State or trying to, or minimum wage is $15 an hour, I think, is what they're just doing. And these folks down in Nicaragua are making $8 a day. And to see that it's such an artisan craft, and they're putting their blood, sweat, and tears into this, it really makes you take a step back and say, wow, A, America's great, but B, I'm getting this product that I'm going to enjoy for, let's say, an hour on average, and it's costing me $8. That's not too shabby when you start thinking about all the costs that are involved. But the people, they're very inviting down there in Nicaragua. They want to. They're a pride people. Pride, a very passionate about what they do, and they'll roll something and say, "Smoke it." Try this. I want you to love this, and to see them get excited and the joy on their face after they hand you something that they've just rolled that they are excited and passionate about. There's nothing more fulfilling than that.
What was the first cigar that you brought to market?
That was the Paradigm. So the story behind that is I wanted to have a cigar that I wanted to smoke. So that was blended based off what I wanted to smoke every single day for the rest of my life type deal. And I said, if I get into this and nobody else likes the cigar, at least I'll have a warehouse full of stuff that I can smoke and be happy with smoking.
That's a good strategy.
That's essentially how that cigar was blended.
So tell us about the blend. What's the wrapper behind the filler?
Brazilian Monofina wrapper. It's got some Colombian, Nicaraguan, a little bit of Honduran in it, just kind of a potpourri of tobacco. And people always ask me, I get the question a lot, well, how do you do this? How do you blend a cigar? And what does that look like? And I am in no way, shape, or form an expert. I'm throwing that out there. I've got 5 years of doing this. There's guys that have been doing this generationally. You look at some of the guys like Pepin that have been doing this for just years and years, 50, 60 years. These guys are geniuses. But, you go down there, and my grandma said, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Shut up and listen. So you're like a sponge, you just absorb it. But, when you blend a cigar, you can either come in and say, I want to use this leaf, and boom, 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 and whatever I get. Or you can say, I want the cigar to taste like this and have these characteristics. Now let's kind of reverse engineer it and say, what leaves give me these characteristics? And so it's really cool. It's kind of cooking and chemistry, all wrapped in together and into one. So it's a pretty fun experience. And I know on a lot of these trips, that like Drew Estate or Perdomo or whomever some of these other guys do, they actually allow the customers to come down and kind of try their hand at blending. So it's again, going back to what I said, if you haven't made the trip down there, make the trip. It's worth it. It's fun. You can kind of get a back end look at what we do on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about some of your other blends, like Ideology, Revere.
Yeah, Ideology was the second blend we did. And for that, I wanted something that was a little more mild, yet very flavorful. The Ideology, I call that kind of the two-headed monster. It's a Nicaraguan Habano Rosado wrapper. If you just bring it into the palate and exhale, it's very creamy, toasty, buttery. The minute you retrohale, where you bring the smoke up through the sinuses and exhale out of your nose, it turns into a whole other beast. It goes to 11. You get all that Nicaraguan spice. It's front-loaded. And it goes from a Saturday morning with a cup of coffee cigar to a Saturday evening after a dinner cigar. Mm-hmm. And so that was, again, when you hear of a mild cigar, people say, oh, it tastes like cardboard or you're smoking air. And that's not what I wanted. Again, I wanted a very rich, milder cigar. Then after that, we did the Manifesto, which was a limited edition that we did. That one came out of Oasis. I did 262 boxes, 10-count boxes. I hand-selected 10 retailers to join us in that. that launch, and they each took 26 boxes, and when they were gone, they were gone. And the reason that we did that is that came out in February of 2012, and that marked the 50th anniversary of JFK signing the Cuban trade embargo. So I did kind of the Manifesto Mayhem tour is what it was called, and it was just about raising awareness of the government and the FDA and all these organizations trying to snuff out this industry. And so I hit the 10 shops and 10 cities and just tried to spread the gospel. I know we did one at Outland in Charlotte, and Coop was there. And we had a computer set up. We were signing people up for CRA and just really, like I said, raising that awareness. After the Manifesto came the Revere, which was all Nicaraguan. I kind of branched out and did an all Nicaraguan cigar. I know that sounds funny, but when you come out of the gate and you do something with tobacco from 4 countries, and you do another one with tobacco from 3 countries, and so to just do one with one country was something different for me. Again, all Nicaraguan, you automatically think pepper, spice, comes in, blows the door open, barrel rolls over the threshold, but the Revere doesn't. It's a very well balanced Nica Pura. You get the pepper and spice, but it's also got some natural sweetness and some cedar notes. So that was, again, kind of what we were looking for. And then last but not least, the brand new Allegiance. Went back to Old Faithful, the Brazilian Matafina, this time using a natural wrapper instead of a Maduro wrapper. And it's filled with Nicaraguan tobacco. Medium strength, medium body. And this is a cigar blended. It's an everyday cigar for every person. It's not super complex. It is what it is. It makes no apologies for that. It's a very consistent cigar, and that's what I was going for. Something you could enjoy with a spirit, something with a cup of coffee, or any time of the day on the golf course, et cetera, et cetera. So we just started launching that, or shipping that about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And we originally slated that to be a seasonal, and I guess I'm kind of letting the cat out of the bag right here on Stogie Geeks, but we had such a great response that we've now decided to take that full production. And so, which was a little little interesting because we already had something else slated for the IPCPR this year, so we pushed that back to 2015, and we're going, guns a-blazing, full bore with Allegiance. So there you go.
Nice. And now, did you change factories for the new Allegiance?
Yeah, the Allegiance is coming out of Tabacalera Carrera, which is Craig Cunningham's factory, which is Esteban Carrera cigars. They do the Covenant, Chupacabra, 5150, Diez Años. And so went down and started working with Craig and Gonzalo down there, and it really was just kind of a good fit. He's just built a new factory, and it's not enormous. It's not super small. It's just, like I said, it's a good fit. I'm kind of right there. I can go down. Craig speaks English. Gonzalo speaks English fairly well. And we all kind of understand each other. Craig is one of these guys that when he's down there to work. He's not down there to goof off. And so we get down there and we hammer it out. So it was kind of a very, very easy transition to start working with the new factory here on the Allegiance.
Clint, what's your take on sizes? How did you select the sizes for some of your cigars? Does size matter? Is that what you're giggling at, everyone?
Yes. No, it's funny, and I think of Tom Lazook. Every time I see that guy, I just want to punch him in his crap lousy face. We have a good chuckle about it. Then we hug it out. But I love Lanceros. The smaller ring gauge, and I said, Tom, my goal is to turn every shop in America into a Lancero shop, and now you're coming out with a 6x80. Like, everything that I'm doing is being you're kind of hurting me here. So we had a good chuckle, and then he came out with 99 problems. So I sent him a note saying, welcome to the dark side. You finally got got your senses right. But the smaller ring gauge for me, anything up over a 50. Is just not for me. I do love a 54 box press Toro, but a 54 standard parallel cigar, that's kind of pushing it. There's just so much flavor in those smaller ring gauges. The Corona, the Lonsdale, the Lancero. the Robusto. You just can't go wrong.
Excellent. Well, what attracts you to the smaller ring gauge, especially the Lancero?
For me, it was the Lancero was just kind of a geek cigar, kind of a nerdy cigar. And I did a very, very scientific poll on Facebook one day, and I just said, "Hey, we're coming out with a new size. What do you guys want in the paradigm?" And overwhelming response, Lancero. And this was right in the middle of the heat, the thick of it, the 660s, the 770s, the Louisville Sluggers, if you will. And everybody, they said, "Hey, we want to see the paradigm in a Lancero." So I said, "All right, here we go. Let's do it." And so we came out with the Lancero, and then eventually came out with the 6x60 in the paradigm. But you'll see that the Revere has a Lancero when it's not back ordered. And now that we've got Allegiance running full production, be on the lookout for a Lancero in that probably sometime in 2015 as well.
There seems to be a resurgence of the Lancero cigar. A lot of manufacturers are coming out with Lancero-sized cigars. Well, why is that, you think?
I guess it's because, I set the trend and people just want to be like me, I guess.
You're a trendsetter,
Clint.
I'm just teasing.
Awesome.
We saw a trend in Lanceros, I want to say early 2000s-ish, maybe around 04, 05, and then they kind of tapered, and now you're starting to see them come back, and a lot of that just has to do, I think, with the social media, with the blogs, the reviews, people becoming more educated that, with the wrapper to filler ratio, the retailers are educating their customers, their consumers, saying, "Hey, this is how these guys blend these cigars in these smaller ring gauges and their Coronas, and if you like a Corona, give the Lancero a try." And really all it takes is a couple times for a guy to get hooked on Lancero, to smoke a Lancero to get hooked. And I guess it's just because people are willing to give something a try. A lot of people say, "Well, I'll try anything once." And once you get enough guys chattering about something, then they start, kind of ribbing their buddy, like, "Man, why are you smoking those Louisville Sluggers? Give this Utz Pretzel a try, these pretzel rods, and smoke this." And all it takes is a couple guys giving, busting somebody's chops, and he'll give it a try, and then he just falls in love.
So, kind of going back to the FDA thing, where are your concerns, especially being a boutique kind of cigar company?
It's kind of a. I'm very much a glasses half full kind of guy. However, with this, it's very intimidating, very daunting. The fact that if you give a mouse a cookie, he'll ask for a glass of milk. Kind of, you give him an inch, they'll take a mile. Right now, I believe the CRA has said that they are moving forward and saying, "Okay, we agree with all of this stuff. However, what we don't agree with is the $10 price tag." Well, that's all fine and dandy, but if you look at some of the weights on things, what about cigarillos? They probably will not fit that weight requirement. Well, now what that does is, so instead of a cigar factory being resourceful and using the scraps and the leftover for the cigarillos, now what are they going to do? And again, who's to say that, okay, let's go ahead and go on with this. However, we'll leave the $10 price tag. Let's say that we'll just take that out of the equation. Well, next year, what are they going to do? Or the following year, what's going to happen? And so, again, I think, and again, I would rather have some regulation than come out and say, "All right, prohibition on cigars." But it's kind of that catch-22. How much is too much? I don't know. I think of infused cigars or flavored cigars that are still long filler, premium cigars, handmade, but they just have a different flavor infused. The way that the FDA deeming regulation reads, those would be subject to, FDA approval. Now, the FDA approval, just because something has to get approval doesn't mean that or that it's eligible for approval, doesn't mean that it has to get approval, doesn't mean that it's going to be kiboshed. It's just the chance of it happening is there. It's the percentage is higher. So again, it's kind of that slippery slope. But I think everybody needs to get up and, like I've said before, gird your loins, contact anybody and everybody that you can think of, your congressman, Senate, House, et cetera, et cetera. Send the letters into the FDA, to the White House, to the petition. You know, last I saw, was it 36,000, 38,000 people have written in. I mean, why is that number not in the six digits? It should be. You know, if you really care about this pastime, this product enough, you wouldn't wait for, my buddy's going to do it, or this guy, he's going to sign in or sign up, so I don't have to. No, everybody needs to. I mean, let's show these guys that we mean business, that not only is the cigar itself at risk, jobs are at risk. Jobs in Nicaragua, Honduras, the DR, jobs in Florida, all over the place. And the White House wants to talk about, from Wall Street to Main Street, well, put your money where your mouth is. Let's see it. Let's do it. Come on. So again, I mean, you don't want to be negative, but try to be a realist, and that's kind of my thought on things. And I could be way off. I don't know. So.
No, we actually had Glenn Loop on last week, and he hit a lot of the points you're hitting. Especially, he said right now they're about to do, I guess there's a congressional subcommittee that's about to look at the international economic impact right now, which really hasn't been assessed as of yet. So you're pretty much right on the money. And basically, we were saying if everyone just told one person. You fill out your comments and get one person to fill it out. You'll get to those six digits with no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a lighter note, Clint, I'm told that you're famous for leather chaps. Do we want to know?
I don't know the answer to that, to be honest with you.
Oh man, so I forget how it started. I think it was. I was doing an event somewhere and I said something, buy a box, get a hug type deal. And then it was something, I'll be there in leather pants or something to that effect. And people kept calling my bluff. And this went on for about a year or so. And so it was, you're going to be there, you're going to have leather pants. And I would say, well, you'll just have to show up and find out. I never had a pair of leather pants. So I was doing the Western Pennsylvania cigar crawl last year, and at lunchtime, these jokers decided to present me with a pair of leather chaps with 262 stitched in them with fringes. So now I actually have a pair of black leather chaps that come out probably 3 times a year. And if you're lucky enough to be at one of those events, you'll get to see me in those. Yeah, your retinas will be burned, and you'll have a story to tell your grandkids.
You're not taking them to Chattanooga again, are you?
Yeah, they come out in the cigar crawl at Chattanooga at the Tweet Up, and then maybe a couple other times a year. The problem is they're just so stinking hot.
I bet.
It's like, I need a 5-gallon bucket of Gold Bond to go with them every time I wear them.
I think that's where assless chaps came from.
I think so.
You get
Breathing, ventilation. What's a cigar crawl, and what's the Western Pennsylvania cigar crawl?
So the Western Pennsylvania cigar crawl, it always happens in May, and it's basically 55 guys get on a coach bus type deal, and they drive around to 4 or 5 different cigar shops, smoking cigars all along the way. We kind of get up there Friday, we go golfing. Friday night we go to Quaker Steak and Lube. And if you're stupid like me and Fred Rui from Nomad Cigars, you challenge each other to a wing eating contest, which pretty much just ruins the rest of the weekend. And then Saturday, we ship out at
who won?
8 a.m. We
hold on, Clint.
Go hit 4 or 5 stops, and then Sunday we have one more stop and then head home.
So in a wing eating contest between Fred Rui and Clint Aaron, who wins? I'm very curious about this.
We tied. We each ate a bucket of wings. It's about 40 wings, and these aren't BW3 wings. Like each wing is the size of a whole chicken. And those last 2 wings were tough to shove down, but our pride got in the way. So we're sitting there. We gobbled up all of them, and then unbuttoned our pants and sat there and cried.
Now that it's funny because now Fred and you have both been on the show, so maybe next time we could coordinate an interview.
I was thinking the same thing.
And you can have a wing eating contest. That'd be awesome.
We may have to talk in Chattanooga.
I can eat some wings too, guys.
Oh, Mark Jr. wants in on this.
Here we
So
go. Here we go.
Bring the
Just
girls,
saying.
The Crown, what are they, the Crown Royal girls?
yeah, the Crown Royal girls were here
You
earlier.
can have wingettes.
I would eat their chicken wings.
My bet's going on Mark Jr., but that's maybe that's just me.
Hey, we'll see.
So Clint, what other cigars do you enjoy most from other people in the industry other than your own?
Oh, I only smoke my own. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I get that question a lot. It's funny. People come up to me and they kind of whisper like, "Hey, what other cigars do you smoke?" It's not a big secret. There's a lot of great smokes out there, and then B, I kind of have to know what my competition's doing. I got to know what the hot leaf is this year. But no, a lot of stuff from Sean Williams, Premier Mundo, smoking the Crown Head stuff, Four Kicks, Headley Grange. I think probably right now. Well, even Dissident Cigars, they're kind of up and coming guys out of Wichita, Kansas. The Room 101 stuff. I'm just a big fan of cigars, and I like to kind of throw some love to these guys because let's face it, we're all in this industry together, and it's kind of friendly competition. We're all fighting for the same shelf space, but at the end of the day, we're all fighting the FDA. So anytime I see a cigar that, maybe I can't find somewhere or it might be regional, I'll pick it up. 724 Kurt Kendall stuff, smoking the daylights out of that new Lancero. So
Yeah,
there's
isn't that
still a lot
awesome?
of great stuff out there.
I like what was his Barbara Pole wrapper cigar? What is that
Hustler.
called?
The Hustler.
The Hustler.
I haven't
Great
tried
cigar.
that, but that Lancero that Clint was talking about is
Is that good?
Mark
fantastic.
Jr. got me hooked on that one. I
Yeah.
agree with him on that.
Yeah, I mean, it was so good that I smoked a cigarette afterwards last time.
Change your shorts and grab a cigarette.
Yeah.
Change your chaps. You got to change your chaps. Who in the cigar industry do you admire most?
Oh, man.
It could be a list of people. That's fine.
Yeah, probably Will Cooper. No.
Stole my answer.
No, I guess as far as manufacturers, stuff like that, other blenders or whatever. Gonzalo Puentes is one of them. You've got to go with kind of the giants, the Pepins, the Fuente family, the Ashton, the guys with Ashton. I've never really kind of sat down to think about that. Ralph Montero with Alec Bradley is another one. The guy's he's a genius and probably doesn't get the credit that he deserves. He's kind of the consigliere. So I would say probably top of the list is Ralph Montero, Gonzalo Puentes, the Ashton family, the Fuentes, the Garcia guys, Pepin and Jaime and Yanni. So.
Will, did you have questions? Sorry.
So yeah, just kind of, I guess, going back to Allegiance. So right now, it's just confirming there was two sizes. You did the Robusto and the box press Toro, right? And that's what you're going to go with IPCPR?
We're actually adding a Corona to that as well.
Is that breaking news?
That is breaking news, yeah. I don't
Wow.
even think we've sent out a press release. So you guys, we broke it here.
Thank you for that.
We did 10 count boxes originally for the seasonal when we thought it was seasonal, and now that it's full gamut, full blown production, we're doing 20 count boxes. And that's just kind of my way of saying to the guys that jumped on board with the 10 count to say, we appreciate it. Thanks for jumping on board, thinking it was going to be a seasonal. We've actually had so much response, positive response, that now we're going to make it full production. But to keep it different, to change it up a little bit, we're going to do 20 count for the guys that didn't get on board early. So just to let you guys know, Robusto, Corona, box press Toro, 20 count boxes, full production.
Awesome.
Wow. Yeah. Clint, I got to say, with that Modafina on that blend, it's not an overpower. You really get the Modafina experience, I thought, with it. I mean, it's a great cigar. I mean, you've done great work in a short time. You really hold your head up on it. You've done a good job.
Thank you.
Yep.
I have a question from the chat room here. They asked if the Corona is going to be box pressed as well.
No, just the Toros. The box press Toros, the Toro's the only size we box press, 6x54. Everything else is just your standard Vitola.
Sounds good.
Excellent. Clint, are you ready to play 5 questions with the Stogie Geeks?
Let's do it. There's no time like the present.
3 words to describe yourself.
Tall, dark, and handsome.
If you were a serial killer, what would be your weapon of choice?
My hands.
If you wrote a book about yourself, what would the title be?
Golly. Hot and sweaty.
In the popular game of Ask Grabby Grabby, do you prefer to go first or second?
Second.
Pick 2 celebrities to be your parents.
Ted Nugent.
Oh, nice. I like that a lot.
Sarah Palin.
And who?
Sarah Palin.
And Sarah
Very
Palin.
nice. Very
There's going to be lots of guns in that house.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Lots of
Lots
guns
of guns
in that house.
I love it. It's awesome.
I love it. Yeah.
Lots of boomsticks.
Clint, pick a random number from 1 to 10, but not 4.
1.
If you had superpowers, what would they be?
X-ray vision.
That is actually the most popular answer to that question, which is pretty funny. How can you go wrong with X-ray vision?
That's right.
Clint, thank you very much for appearing on the
You could get rid of
Geeks.
the internet if you have X-ray vision.
That's right. Oh, boy. Well, Clint, again, thank you very much.
Except to watch Stogie Geeks.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure. I'm glad you could join us tonight. We look forward to smoking more of your cigars. I don't know if there's very many shops here in Rhode Island. You get a hit to Rhode Island?
Yeah, work on that, man.
I know Paul up there at Mr. J's.
Yeah.
Had us there for a while. I'm not sure if he's still got some lying around or not, but give him a shot. And I want to say maybe is Ruben's Smokestack up in Rhode Island? Is that ringing a bell?
Where is that? Jersey?
Yeah.
Jersey.
Yeah. But Paul, I have.
It's close. It's like
I
5
should just
hours
get you
away.
guys some. I mean, because we have good access here in Charlotte.
Yeah.
To stuff.
I'll check with Paul as
Yeah.
he sponsors the show as well. So we'll check with him and see what his stock is on that. So
Very good.
we'll get to smoking more of them. I apologize. I haven't smoked. I personally haven't smoked many of them. So we don't.
Me
get on
neither.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't sweat it.
Excellent.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Sorry if I rambled. I get kind of passionate about our rights as cigar smokers, as you can tell.
No, it's
and
important.
Sometimes I just get all hot and bothered and get on a soapbox. So I apologize if I rambled, but
No, it was
again,
great.
I just hope everybody can see.
We'll forgive you. We're Nazis for staying on schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
what we're known
if
for
everybody
around
just
here.
have a little glimpse of what we're up against. Kind of get that sense of urgency, get a fire lit under some people, and let's cut this off at the pass.
Clint, thank you very much.
Thank you guys. Take care.
With
Thank you,
that, we will take a short break, come back, and talk about our Stogies of the week. So stay tuned. I need some water. Who's got water?
This bourbon's going down awful well.
It is.
I
So is
just
this red